Come to the next question. Now here we have sentences 1 and 6 given. And in between these two we have 4 sentences jumbled. No change in the concepts, no change in the way of approach, the same concepts, the same way of approach. But we should give importance to sentences 1 and 6. We should not neglect it. The same way of approach. Meeting people after 9 to 10 years, almost to the day, is a very weird experience. It genuinely felt awkward to meet people, some married and some with children, others married but who forgot to send out 200 cards to school friends, others divorced. I did not find out that the marriage was unhappy for all the wrong reasons, none because of the obnoxious twit that he is. I actually felt sorry for one of those guys, demonstrative pronoun. One of those guys, because if you knew the equation with him in the school bus, where we almost killed each other a few times, I would not have wished a divorce. I would not have wished a divorce on him, though I would not have wished any woman on him either. I am in close touch with a couple of school friends. Doc, for example, is an ass. I can still call my best friend after 20 years. But my God, did he, or rather his overheating BMW, push my patience on Sunday night? Everybody was fatter, balder, and in some cases both in the sense both fatter and balder. Here, come to sentence 3. I told you never miss any pronoun or any indicator while reading. I actually felt sorry for one of those guys. Those guys means immediately before a sentence there must be a sentence with containing mention about some guys. Some people are mentioned there in sentences 1 and 4. Sentence 3 says, I actually felt sorry for one of those guys. I actually felt sorry for one of those guys. Come to sentence 4. I am in close touch with a couple of school friends. Doc, for example, is an ass. I can still call my best friend after 20 years. But my God, I did not. Did he push my patience on Saturday night? Now here, there's no mention about some guys for whom we have to feel sorry in sentence 4. Come to sentence 1. He genuinely felt awkward to meet people, some married and some with children, others married but who forgot to send out 200 cards to school friends, others divorced. In sentence 1, there is a mention about some people for whom we have to feel sorry, and those are the people who got divorced. Now come to sentence 3. I actually felt sorry for one of those guys. Those guys means the guys who got divorced. If you have any doubt regarding that, read sentence 3 once again. I actually felt sorry for one of those guys because, and if you know the equation with him in the school bus where we almost killed each other a few times, I would not have wished a divorce on him. It talks about people getting divorced. Sentence 1 also talks about people getting divorced. So this means like I felt sorry. The author felt sorry for one of those guys who got divorced. So I can say 1 and 3 is a mandatory pair. 1 and 3 is a mandatory pair. Now we'll see how many options with 1 and 3 as mandatory pair. 1 and 3 as mandatory pair comes only in one option, that is option C. In option A, 1 and 3 is not a mandatory pair. In B also same. In D also same. The answer is option C. Clear? Even though the passage was too long, we got the answer. We eliminated 3 options and got the answer with the help of a single concept. Got it? Come to the next one. Even though dance starts a bit later than school does during the week, Saturday morning is still pretty chaotic around here. More so if John is leaving for an auction that day, because it means I have to truck Kristen and Alex with me and get them ready too. This is one of those mornings where John was rushing to leave. There are buns to be done, bodysuits to find, tights to mend, they're always ripped somewhere, and a good breakfast to be had. Morning's breakfast. And a good breakfast to be had. His work van has been giving him some problems, so he was nervous about traveling with it, not to mention what it's costing us to fix it. He couldn't find his cell, and even though he had woken up in a general good mood, I could see it going downhill from that. Here, come to sentence 1. More so if John is leaving for an auction that day. That day, immediately before it, there must be mention about a day. In which sentence do you find mention about day? The mention about a day comes in sentence 1. So S1 and 1 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, option D is eliminated. Now come to sentence 2. This is one of those mornings where John was rushing to leave to. Come to sentence 3 now. There are buns to be done, bodysuits to find, tights to mend, and a good breakfast to be had. When do we have a breakfast? We have a breakfast in the morning only. And sentence 3 says, this is one of those mornings where John was rushing to leave to. So before leaving, he has to do all these things. He has to find his bodysuits, he has to mend his tights, and he has to have his breakfast. All these things he has to do in the morning before rushing to leave. So this is one of those mornings where John was rushing to leave to. So I can say 3 and 2 is a mandatory pair, and 3 and 2 as mandatory pair comes in options A and C. In A and C we have 3 and 2 as mandatory pair. Based on that, option B is eliminated. Now we have only 2 options left, AC. Come to sentence 4. His work van has been giving him some problems, so he was nervous about traveling with it. Now I say 2 and 4 is a mandatory pair. 2 says, this is one of those mornings where John was rushing to leave to. And when John was about to leave, now after getting ready, after finding his bodysuits, after mending his tights, after having his breakfast, he will be rushing to leave. And when he was about to leave, his work van has been giving him some problems. Now the work van is the vehicle by which he travels. So after getting ready, after having his breakfast, he was rushing to leave. At that time, his work van has been giving him some problems. So 2 and 4 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, option C is eliminated. The answer must be option A. Clear? Come to next. Climate change will trigger a chain of events that is likely to prompt an increase in HIV rates worldwide, an expert has warned. Daniel Tarantola of the University of New South Wales said that disadvantage in developing countries must be addressed if the world is to prevent a dramatic escalation of the HIV epidemic as well as other health problems. It was clear soon after the emergence of the HIV epidemic that discrimination, gender inequality, and lack of access to essential services have made some populations more vulnerable than others, Tarantola said on Wednesday. Daniel Tarantola, names. Today, additional threats are lurking on the horizon as the global economic situation deteriorates, food scarcity worsens, and climate change begins to affect those who are already dependent on survival economies, Tarantola said. Again, we have a mention about a name. David Cooper, another name, also of UNSW, said, science has achieved great strides towards shaping a more effective response to HIV. Yet, research, contrast indicator, sentences 1 and 6 are given here. Yet, research has not succeeded in producing the hoped for magic bullets of either a cure or a vaccine. Now, in this sentence, we find mention about names. Names are mentioned here. Now, my question is, can 2 or 3 come before 1? That's my question. Can 2 or 3 come before 1? 2 says Tarantola, 3 also says Tarantola. Whereas 1 says Daniel Tarantola. So full name is mentioned in sentence 1, not S1, in 1. Whereas in 2 and 3 we have only half the name. So 2 or 3 cannot come before 1. Based on that, A is eliminated. 2 is coming before 1. B is eliminated. 2 and 3 are coming before 1. C is eliminated. 2 and 3 are coming before 1. We have only one option left, option D. Clear? One base. Then, based on the concept of names, even though it's a long passage, just looking at the names, we eliminated 3 options. Just thinking about the concept of names, we eliminated 3 options and got the answer. The answer is D. One more reason. S1 says, climate change will trigger a chain of events that is likely to prompt an increase in HIV rates. An expert has said, has warned. An expert means how many experts? One expert. 2 experts are talked about here. One is Daniel Tarantola and the other one is David Cooper. So an expert, my question is, an expert refers to Daniel Tarantola or David Cooper. That is my question. 4 says, David Cooper, also of UNSW, also is a support indicator. So before this, there must be mentioned about another person. So an expert cannot refer to David Cooper because of the support indicator also. An expert refers to Daniel Tarantola. So paragraph must start with 1. Come to the options once again. How many options starting with 1? Only one option starting with 1, that is option D. Based on that concept also, 3 options eliminated. The answer is D, Delhi. Getting it? Come to the next one. Unlike Kolkata, trams are a respected mode of transport in Melbourne in Australia. The similarities are not surprising as both are contemporaneous and trams were introduced in both cities under the British rule. That is because an Australian, Robert D. Andrea, who works as a tram conductor in Melbourne's famous tramway, came to Kolkata on a visit in the mid-1990s. Nevertheless, Kolkata has become a sister city to Melbourne, linked by the tram. He was amazed to find that both cities had similar tram systems. Both cities have similar tram systems and coaches. There is a difference today in that while Melbourne the tram is a way of life and is loved and respected, in Kolkata it receives more big bats than anything else. 2 sentences talk about tram systems and their similarities. Which 2? 4 and 1 talk about trams and their similarities, right? So both talk about trams and similarities. So these 2 must come together. 1 and 4 or 4 and 1 must come together. Now here, what must be the mandatory pair here? Fine, I'll come back to it. So anyway, 1 and 4 must come together in all the options. So based on that, 1 option is eliminated. Because 1 and 4 are separated by 2. Eliminated. Fine. Now, come to sentence 4. He is a pronoun. Pronoun antecedent. Every pronoun must refer to a noun before it, immediately before it. A singular pronoun can refer only to a singular noun and a plural pronoun can refer only to a plural noun. He is a singular pronoun. In which sentence do you have a singular pronoun male? In sentence 2. Robert D. Andrea. Only in this statement if I mention about a person. So 2 and 4 must be a mandatory pair. 2 and 4 as mandatory pair comes in 2 options, A and B. Based on that, C is eliminated, D is eliminated, B anyway we eliminated. Now we have only one option left, that is option A. Now we'll see 4 and 1 is a mandatory pair and not 1 and 4. Come to 4. He was amazed to find that both cities had similar tram systems and coaches. So he found out that there are some similarities. Now come to 1. The similarities. The similarities means specific. So 4 says he found out that some similarities were there. And both those similarities are, and the similarities are described in sentence 1. So sentence 4 becomes general, sentence 1 becomes specific. It's always general and specific. So 4 and 1 must be a mandatory pair. The answer is option A. Getting it? So based on pronoun antecedent and based on the concept of general and specific, we got the answer. Come to next. Surveys have established that up to 90% of employees of large companies are strongly motivated when they join the company. Full stop. It's not a comma, it's a full stop. Moreover, lack of support. Moreover is a support indicator. Moreover, lack of support when difficulties arise is another factor. The most common problems are unclear job descriptions, inadequate or inappropriate criticism. After a few years, more than half have lost their drive. More than half have lost their drive. In many cases, superior is not available in a crisis. The real task for today's motivational seminars is to show managers how to eliminate these difficulties. Eliminate these difficulties. Now, as I told you, if a sentence says these girls, immediately before it, there must be a mention about there must be a sentence containing mention about girls. Only then we can say these girls, and these two statements must come together. If a sentence says these difficulties, immediately before this sentence, there must be a sentence containing mention about difficulties. In which sentence do you find mention about difficulties? The mention about difficulties comes in sentence 1. So I can say 1 and S6 is a mandatory pair. 1 and S6 is a mandatory pair. So based on that, option C and B are eliminated. Now we have only two options left, A and D. Clear? Now, come to 3. After a few years, more than half have lost their drive. There is a plural pronoun. So immediately before it, there must be a sentence containing mention about a plural noun. In which sentence do you find mention about a plural noun? A plural noun comes only in one sentence, that is S1, 90% of employees. So this plural noun refers to the noun 90% of employees. Now we'll see whether S1 and 3 can be a mandatory pair or not. S1 says, surveys have established that up to 90% of employees of large companies are strongly motivated when they join the company. Now come to sentence 3. After a few years. S1 says what happened when they joined the company, and 3 says what happened after a few years. Makes sense. After a few years, more than half have lost their drive. So S1 and 3 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, option D is eliminated. The answer must be option. Clear? Now I say here 2, 4, 1. Yeah. 2, 4 and 1 must come together. Because 2 says the most common problems are unclear job descriptions, inadequate or inappropriate criticism. 4 says in many cases the superior is not available in a crisis. That's also a problem. 1 says moreover, support indicator. Lack of support when difficulties arise is another factor. That is also a problem. 3 sentences talk about problems. And which 3? 2, 4 and 1. When we have 3 supporting ideas, all the 3 are negative. When we have 3 supporting ideas, a support indicator must connect the last 2 ideas. For say 3 persons, Ram, Sam, Tom. These 3 people are not studying. So I should say Ram and Sam and Tom are not studying. Ram and Sam, Tom, Tom not studying. Ram, Sam and Tom are not studying. Which of these is correct? Only one is correct, the third one. Ram and Sam and Tom are not studying is grammatically wrong. Ram and Sam, Tom are not studying, grammatically wrong. The correct one must be Ram, Sam and Tom are not studying. That means Ram is not studying, Sam is not studying, Tom is also not studying. 3 supporting ideas. Similarly, 2, 4 and 1 talk about problems. So we have 3 supporting ideas here. So the support indicator and must connect the last 2 ideas. A problem is there in 2, a problem is there in 4, and a problem is there in 1 as well. So 3 sentences talk about problems. A support indicator must connect the last 2 ideas. So it must be 2, 4, 1. The answer must be option A. Clear? Come to the next question. A professor of nuclear physics once said something that baffled his students, confused his students. When the students pointed this difference out to him, he hardly looked at them. He had just finished working out a complex calculation on the blackboard, and a number of students in the lecture hall thought they could see a mistake in his calculations. It's the same order of magnitude given within quotations, he said, shrugging his shoulders. The result he had written on the blackboard was about double the value that was given in the textbook, a textbook the professor himself had written. As long as we know how the principle works, everything is fine. Now come to sentence 1, not S1, this one, 1. When the students pointed this difference out to him, the student says this difference. Immediately before the sentence, there must be a sentence containing mention about some kind of difference. In which sentence do you find mention about some kind of difference? Sentence 4. The result he had written on the blackboard was about double the value that was given in the textbook. That is the difference. The result he had written on the blackboard was about double the value that was given in the textbook. This is the difference. The difference between the result written on the blackboard and the one written in the textbook. That is the difference. So 4 and 1 must be a mandatory pair, and 4 and 1 as mandatory pair comes only in one option, that is option A. So B, C and D are eliminated. We got the answer. Still we have mandatory pair section. I say 2 and 4 is a mandatory pair because the word blackboard is mentioned in 2 and 4. Come to 2, we'll see. 2 says, he had just finished working out a complex calculation on the blackboard, and a number of students in the lecture hall thought they could see a mistake in his calculations. And that mistake is there in 4. And the word blackboard is also mentioned. The result he had written on the blackboard was about double the value, mistake, that was given in the textbook, a textbook the professor himself had written. So 2 and 4 is also a mandatory pair, and 2 and 4 as mandatory pair comes in 2 options, A and B. So C and D are eliminated. Anyway, 4 and 1 as mandatory pair comes only in one option, that is option A. The answer must be A. Clear? The next one. The British memory and learning expert Tony Busan specialized in training mental abilities. Essentially, it involves the creation of a visual representation of all the different aspects of a particular topic. Making a mind map is a bit like taking notes at a lecture. It makes you think about what you're hearing. During the 1970s, he developed a particularly simple yet effective technique for structuring and organizing thoughts. He called this technique mind mapping. Technique is mentioned here. He called this technique mind mapping. Today, Tony Busan's technique is applied in many ways since it is ideally suited to widely differing applications. Come to sentence 4. He called this technique mind mapping. If a sentence says this technique, immediately before it there must be a sentence containing mention about technique, and only in one sentence we have mentioned about technique, that is sentence 3. So undoubtedly 3 and 4 must be a mandatory pair, pronoun antecedent. 3 and 4 as mandatory pair comes only in one option, that is option A. So based on that, B, C and D are eliminated. Now we'll think about another concept. We have a pronoun in sentence 3, he. We have a pronoun in sentence 4 as well, he. Every pronoun must refer to a noun immediately before it. In which sentence do you find mention about a noun? S1. The mention about noun comes only in S1, that is Tony Busan. And every pronoun, I repeat, every pronoun must refer to a noun immediately before it. Anyway, 3 and 4 is a mandatory pair. So forget about the pronoun that comes in 4, because 3 and 4 is a mandatory pair. Now this pronoun, the pronoun in 3 must refer to a noun immediately before it. So I can say S1 and 3 is a mandatory pair, and S1 and 3 as mandatory pairs comes in 3 options. So D is gone, whereas this one, 3 and 4 as a mandatory pair comes only in one option, option A. The answer is A. Clear? Come to the next one. Networking can broadly be described as arrangements that people let share information as arrangements that let people share information, exchange messages, and otherwise get together while remaining far apart. Networking has enabled companies, governments, agencies, and other organizations to slash costs while raising efficiency. Yet has networking, the same word is mentioned. Yet is a pronoun. Yet has redefined the workplace and helped in bringing remote company outposts closer to one another and to head offices. The benefits of networks can be enormous. Of course, the benefits that are bestowed on some can be different from the others. Bringing together the buyer and seller via electronic exchange is creating a new marketplace. One of the high-powered networks here as well. One of the high-powered networks is for automated teller machines that has helped the US banks reduce the number of tellers by 18,000 over the past decade. Now in 2 sentences, we find mention about the word networking, which to S1 and 1 contain mention about networking. So I can say S1 and 1 is a mandatory pair. Based on that, 2 options eliminated, C and D. Gone. Now we have 2 options left, A and B. We have one more word mentioned in 2 sentences. The word networks is mentioned in 2 sentences, 3 and S6. So this one is S1 and 1. Yeah. 3 and S6 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, option A is eliminated. The answer must be B. In fact, if you have noticed, S6 is an example to 3. 3 says, now both talk about networks. 3 says, the benefits of networks can be enormous. Of course, the benefits that are bestowed on some can be different from the others. S6 says, one of the high-powered networks is for the automated teller machines that has helped the US banks reduce the number of tellers by 18,000 over the past decade. Now 3 and S6 talk about the benefits of networks, and S6 talks about one entity, that is US banks. So US banks is an example given to the idea, the benefits of networks. So 3 and S6 must be together. An example always support the statement comes immediately before it. So both talk about the benefits of networks, and the benefits that the US banks got is given there in S6, which is given as an example by the author. 3 and S6 is a mandatory pair. The answer is option B. Clear? The next one. There are 15 varieties of Tropicana juice in the market. Full stop. It's not comma, it's full stop actually. Pulp contains vitamin C, which is a vital source of energy. Vitamin C makes you feel healthy. These plural pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, these also include Tropicana's pulp-free orange tangerine, full stop. Pulp-free juice is not good for health. A healthy person can think faster and better. 2 sentences contain mention about. Now come to the previous one. I forgot one concept. Yet is a pronoun. Yet is a pronoun referring to networking. Yet has redefined the workplace. That means networking has redefined the workplace. So I can say S1, 1 and 2 must come together. The answer was B. In B, S1, 1 and 2 are coming together. We got the answer, but just felt like telling you one more concept that can be applied. Come to the next one. Yeah. Now here, this is a plural pronoun. So immediately before the sentence, there must be a sentence containing mention about a plural noun. In which sentence do we have a plural noun? A plural noun is there only in one sentence, that is S1 15 varieties. So these refers to 15 varieties. So S1 and 3 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, Bombay is eliminated. Two sentences contain mention about vitamin C. Which two? 1 and 2 contain mention about vitamin C. So 1 and 2 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, option C is eliminated. Here it's 2-1, but leave it there. Now we have two options left, A and D. Two sentences talk about being healthy. Which two? 2 and S6. 2 and S6 contain mention about word healthy. 2 says vitamin C makes you feel healthy. S6 says a healthy person can think faster and better. So 2 and S6 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, D is eliminated. The answer must be A. 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2. Clear? So S1, we'll check whether the order is correct or not. There are 15 varieties of Tropicana juice in the market. Then 3. These also include Tropicana's pulp-free orange tangerine. Then 4. Pulp-free juice. Yes. Pulp-free. So 3 and 4 is also mandatory pair. One more concept. Pulp-free juice is not good for health. So both talk about pulp-free. Pulp-free juice is not good for health. Then comes 1. Pulp contains vitamin C, which is a vital source of energy. Then 2. Vitamin C. Vitamin C makes you feel healthy. The answer must be option A. The passage now makes sense. There's no need for check after the examination. After approaching every question, after solving a question, you will not get time to check whether it's correct or not. Going by these concepts will give us some confidence that we are going for the correct answer. Come to the next one. As IT professional, the job entails long hours of sitting in front of the computer. Full stop. All these are full stops. It's a printing mistake. This would lead to a lifetime of pain. This is the worst thing for your back because you would remain tense and strained in position. To avoid this, go to Godrej showroom today. Godrej has designed ergonomic chairs to ease pressures. Two sentences talk about Godrej. Which two? 4 and S6 talk about Godrej. So 4 and S6 must be a mandatory pair. Based on that, option D is eliminated. Now, I say that S1 and 2 is a mandatory pair. Come to S1. As IT professional, the job entails long hours of sitting in front of the computer. Come to 2. This is the worst thing for your back. What is the worst thing for your back? Sitting for long hours in front of the computer is the worst thing for your back. So S1 and 2 is a mandatory pair. Based on that, 3 options are gone. A is gone, B is gone, D is gone. The answer is C. We have more mandatory pairs here. Many more. We'll see which are the other mandatory pairs. This is the worst thing for your back because it's a cause and effect indicator connecting a reason and a result. I say that 2 and 3 is a mandatory pair. Come to 2. This is the worst thing for your back because you will remain tense and strained in position. So as we remain tense and strained in position is the worst thing for a back. So 2 and 3 is a mandatory pair. Then I say 3 and 1 is a mandatory pair. Because you would remain tense and strained in position, full stop. This would lead to a lifetime of pain. What would lead to a lifetime of pain? Remaining tense and strained in position would lead to a lifetime of pain. So this refers to remaining tense and strained in position. So 3 and 1 is also a mandatory pair. All those are fine. Option C. The answer must be C. Clear? We have gone for the exercise without trying to understand the meanings of the sentences. We just went through the sentences very quickly. We applied. We took notice of every keyword, indicators and pronouns we have noticed. We have never missed any indicator. We have never missed any pronoun. We got the answer to every question based only on the concepts we discussed. So verbal logic questions, I repeat, verbal logic questions we find only with practice. You need to go for a lot of exercises. We'll do many exercises. Just now, like as of now, we are going for questions on individual topics, exercise on individual topics. Once we complete all these exercises on individual topics, we'll start with some workshops. We'll combine all the topics and we'll do many questions. And that is what we need to do more. But before moving on to such exercises, we need to have a good knowledge of all the rules and all the topics. All the rules that come in every topic actually. That's what we're doing right now. So that's it about para jumbles. We'll go over more practice later once we come to the basis of the other topics as well. Clear? Thank you.